Last Friday night, I'm out with some friends, halfway through a game of pool at this dive bar across town. My phone buzzes, and it's a text from Emma, my wife, saying she's working late again. Fine. This wasn't unusual. She's in marketing, and deadlines are brutal. I reply with a quick, "Don't stress. I'll grab food on my way home and go back to my beer." That's when my buddy Jake pulls me aside, with this strange look on his face. "I saw Emma today," he says, hesitant. "She was at that new Italian place, but she wasn't alone." I laugh it off at first. Emma's got plenty of friends. She probably had a work lunch. But Jake shakes his head, looking serious. "It wasn't a work vibe, man. She was there with some guy, and it looked pretty cozy." Now my stomach twists. I try to laugh it off, but I can feel this chill creeping up my spine. I brush it aside, though. It's nothing, right? But once Jake plants that seed, it's like I can't ignore it. All night, I'm replaying it in my head. Jake's expression, the way he hesitated, like he was afraid of setting something off. When I finally get home, it's past midnight, and the apartment is dark. Emma's laptop is on the counter, half open, with an email still pulled up. I'm not one to pry, but I notice a name in the email subject line, Mark. That's when everything clicks. I swipe up to unlock the screen, barely hesitating, but my hands feel like they're moving on their own. I open her emails, and there's an entire thread, back and forth messages between her and this Mark guy, hiding behind the guise of work meetings and client dinners. I scroll down, reading every word, feeling my pulse hammer louder with every line. The messages are clever, almost coded, and it's like she's mocking me with how carefully she keeps everything just below the radar. But it's obvious they're not talking about marketing strategies. Then I hear the key in the door. Emma walks in, looking a little too put together for a late night at the office, her lipstick still perfectly intact. She spots me with her laptop open, and in an instant, her face drains of color. For the first time in our whole relationship, she's got nothing to say. Not even a fake smile. "Want to explain this?" I ask, holding up the laptop. My voice sounds calmer than I feel, which might be the scariest part of all. Emma just stands there, staring at me, her eyes flicking between the laptop and my face, like she's calculating how to play this. 1,000 excuses could be on her lips, but she's silent. For a split second, I think maybe, just maybe, she's gonna tell me the truth. But then she laughs, this shallow, almost mocking sound. "Oh, come on, Alex. Are you seriously digging through my work emails now?" I don't budge. "I know you're not meeting clients. You and Mark? Client dinner? Late night strategy session? Come on, Emma." She sighs, putting her bag down with this exasperated look, like I'm the one being unreasonable. "You've been distant lately," she says, crossing her arms. "So, yeah, I went out with someone from work. You never pay attention anymore. All you do is go to work, come home, and act like I'm just part of the furniture." I can feel my jaw clench. She's trying to make me the problem. She's dodging every word, every truth I'm laying out, and throwing it back on me. But there's something about her tone, so casual, like she's not even trying to hide it, almost like she's proud of it. "What exactly did I miss, Emma?" I ask, my voice lower now, a bit more dangerous. I want her to slip, to say something real for once. "Did I miss you sneaking around with him? The calls? The texts? Stop being so dramatic, Alex," she snaps. Her face twists, and suddenly, it's like I'm seeing a different person. The warm, charismatic Emma I've known for years is gone, replaced by this stranger, someone cold and closed off. Mark's a friend, and even if it was something more, what, you're gonna act like you haven't checked out of this marriage? Like you've been some devoted husband? The audacity of it floors me. I'm reeling, trying to process how quickly she flipped this around. Just a few hours ago, everything in my life felt stable, solid. Now it's slipping out of my hands, and she's treating it like it's nothing. Her casualness cuts deeper than any yelling or argument ever could. "You've got one chance, Emma," I say, practically whispering now, because my voice feels tight, like I could snap at any second. "One chance to tell me the truth. What the hell is going on?" She shrugs, her eyes narrowing, and then she says the words that break something in me. "If you were really my husband, you'd already know." Her words hit me like a slap across the face. If I were really her husband? What does that even mean? I feel my hands clench involuntarily, the laptop still open on the screen with her messages. Her dirty little secret laid bare. I take a steadying breath, but my heart's racing, each beat echoing in my ears like a warning bell. So this is my fault? I say, struggling to keep my voice steady, to keep the hurt and rage from breaking through. I pushed you to do this? I made you, what? Fall into his arms. Emma's expression barely changes. She doesn't flinch, doesn't even blink. In fact, she rolls her eyes, like this whole thing is a hassle she'd rather not be dealing with. Honestly, Alex, you're blowing this way out of proportion. I didn't fall into anyone's arms. Mark, he just understands me in ways you never have. He actually listens to me. The words feel like daggers, but it's the look in her eyes that twists them deeper. There's no remorse, no guilt, just this steely calm, like she's justified, like I should be the one apologizing. What does that even mean? I fire back, my voice rising despite myself. When have I not listened to you, Emma? All these late nights, all these excuses. I was there every damn time, supporting you, trusting you, giving you space. And this is how you repay me. She shrugs again, like she's barely listening. Maybe that's the problem, Alex. You're always just there, but you're never actually with me. You think running through the motions makes you a great husband? Newsflash. It doesn't. Her words leave me cold. They cut through all my defenses, each one designed to erode the ground beneath me, making me question everything. But instead of reeling, something snaps into place. I feel a clarity I didn't know I was capable of in a moment like this. I hold up her laptop again, the email thread still glowing on the screen. So what's this, Emma? Just friendly talks with a coworker who listens? My voice is sharp, unrecognizable even to myself. Emma's face flickers just for a second, and then, just like that, she drops the mask. Her eyes harden, and this little smirk creeps up. She's not even trying to hide it anymore. You know what? Fine. Yes, Alex, there's more to it. Mark and I, yes, we're more than just friends. The words are out, blunt and brutal, and it's like I've been punched. No more dodging, no more excuses. She said it. She admitted it. And just like that, the last shred of hope I had is gone, and I stand there, gripping the edge of the counter to keep myself steady, as her words settle like poison in my veins. She admitted it, cold as ice. She looked me in the eye and told me exactly what she's been doing. I should feel angry. I should be yelling, maybe even throwing something, but instead, I feel this eerie calm, like the shock has numbed me. So how long? I ask, barely recognizing my own voice. It's steady, almost a whisper, as if saying it too loud would break the whole moment apart. How long have you been seeing him behind my back? Emma tilts her head, like she's considering whether she even owes me an answer. And then, in the most nonchalant tone, she says, 6 months. 6 months. Half a year of lies, sneaking around, pretending everything was fine while she carried on with another man. My mind flashes back over the last 6 months. Birthdays, dinners, quiet evenings at home. All those moments where she looked at me, smiled, laughed at my jokes, and pretended I was the only one. The realization is like a punch to the gut. Every memory feels tainted now, and the weight of it is staggering. I take a step back like I need physical distance from her. So every time you came home late, every work trip, every dinner with the team, it was him? She doesn't even try to deny it. She just crosses her arms, looking mildly annoyed, as if I'm holding her up from something more important. Alex, don't be dramatic. Yes, Mark and I have been seeing each other, but I was careful. It didn't affect us, not really. You wouldn't have even noticed if you hadn't gone snooping. I almost laugh at the absurdity of it, this twisted logic that she seems to genuinely believe. So that's what you think this is? That I should have just kept my eyes shut and pretended everything was perfect? Just sit here, playing the clueless husband while you live your little double life. She raises an eyebrow, clearly irritated now. Well, it's not like you've exactly been winning any Husband of the Year awards, have you? Look at you, always at work, always with your mind somewhere else. You were never present, Alex. You practically pushed me into his arms. The audacity leaves me speechless. She's blaming me. painting herself as some kind of victim who just stumbled into an affair because her husband was distant. But I know the truth, and right now, that truth is searing through me like fire. And I bet he's some hero in this whole mess, right? This perfect guy who's been listening to you. I ask, the sarcasm dripping from my words. She doesn't even flinch. At least he sees me, Alex. He doesn't just go through the motions. He actually makes me feel alive. That's it. I can feel the last thread of my patience snap. There's no reasoning with her, no reaching the person I thought she was. I stare at her, realizing I'm looking at a stranger. Someone who doesn't care if she's tearing me apart. And in that moment, I know this isn't something I can ever forgive. The shock finally fades, replaced by a deep, searing anger that fills every corner of me. I want to yell, to shake her, to make her understand what she's done. But I know that wouldn't matter. She's standing there with that same cold indifference, like she's already moved on. Like I'm the one holding things up, standing between her and her new life with Mark. You're unbelievable. I manage, my voice low and taut. Do you even hear yourself, Emma? 6 months of lying, cheating, sneaking around, and you act like I'm the one who should be apologizing. She rolls her eyes again, exasperated, as if I'm the one making this more dramatic than it needs to be. I don't know what you want me to say, Alex. I told you the truth. I could have kept lying, but I didn't. Isn't that what you wanted? Her words are dripping with this twisted self-righteousness, like admitting to her affair somehow makes her the honest one here. I don't know if she's trying to manipulate me or if she genuinely believes what she's saying, but it's like she's rewriting the story as she goes, casting herself as the misunderstood one and me as the clueless fool who just didn't get it. You're delusional, I say, laughing bitterly. You want to act like some noble martyr now? After dragging me through this? Emma shrugs, looking almost bored. Think what you want, Alex. Maybe it's better this way. Maybe it's time we both moved on. Her words hang in the air like a bombshell, and I can barely comprehend what I'm hearing. This isn't just some meaningless fling to her. She's already written me out of her life, already set her sights on something, or someone else. And I can see it now, in the way she's holding herself, in the finality of her tone. She doesn't just want a temporary thrill. She wants out. So that's it? You've already made up your mind. My voice cracks, betraying the mix of pain and anger I can barely keep bottled up. She doesn't even hesitate. Yes, Alex, I'm done. I was going to tell you eventually, but maybe it's better you found out this way. Less drama, right? I'm floored by her audacity, the coldness in her voice, the way she's brushing off years of marriage like they're nothing more than a used-up chapter. Less drama? Emma, you destroyed us. You couldn't even respect me enough to end things before running off to him. For a brief second, she seems to waver. There's a flicker of something in her eyes. Guilt, regret, maybe even shame, but it's gone as quickly as it appeared. She just shakes her head, her expression hardening once again. I don't know what you want from me, Alex. I wanted more from life than this, more than what we had. And there it is, the unfiltered truth. It wasn't just about Mark. It was about me, about our entire life together. To her, it was all disposable. That's when the weight of everything truly sinks in. I'm not just losing her. I'm losing the life I thought we were building together. The future I thought we both wanted. My chest feels hollow, my breath shallow, like I've been gutted. Emma stands there, still unflinching, her arms crossed, completely detached, like she's watching this from a distance. She's made up her mind. I can see it as clearly as if she's already walked out the door. Every word, every look, is calculated, as though she rehearsed this moment 100 times in her head, bracing herself to leave me like it was nothing. I take a breath, the reality settling in. So what's the plan then? You walk out of here, run off to Mark, and that's just it. She doesn't even look surprised. In fact, there's a glimmer of relief in her eyes, like she's finally gotten the reaction she wanted, the permission to step out of my life. I think that's for the best, don't you? We can go our separate ways. Make this as clean as possible. Clean. She actually thinks this can end cleanly, like we're splitting a bill after an awkward dinner, not a marriage. Emma, we built a life together. I say, my voice breaking despite my best effort to hold it steady. This was real to me. I trusted you with everything. And now you're just throwing it away. She shrugs, dismissing it all like it's nothing but a bad memory. Things change, Alex. People change. Maybe you just didn't see it, but I did. I've been ready for something more for a long time. You were just too busy. Too comfortable to notice. The coldness, the blunt cruelty of her words, finally shatters whatever hope or desperation I was clinging to. It's like she's systematically tearing down every part of us that ever mattered, piece by piece, until there's nothing left but the wreckage. Comfortable. I laugh, a hollow sound I barely recognize as my own. I've been working my ass off to give us the life you said you wanted. I was there for you every step of the way, Emma. And this is what you call comfortable? She raises an eyebrow, completely unfazed. And maybe that's the problem, Alex. You were so focused on being there for me that you never actually saw me. You were in love with the idea of us, not the reality. Maybe that's on you. The weight of her words hits hard. She's not just rewriting our past. She's rewriting me, painting me as some oblivious partner who never understood her, who couldn't keep up with her needs, her desires. It's like I was a placeholder, filling the gaps while she waited for something better to come along. And in that moment, I feel something shift inside me. The hurt, the anger, the betrayal. It all crystallizes into something sharper, more resolute. She's not walking out on some clueless husband who didn't measure up. She's walking out on a man who gave her everything and is finally seeing her for who she really is. I straighten up, the calm settling over me like armor. All right, Emma. I say, my voice steady now. If you want out, then go. You've made it clear that I don't mean anything to you anymore. So do what you need to do. A flicker of surprise flashes in her eyes, just for a second. I don't think she expected me to take this so well, to let her go without a fight. Maybe she wanted me to beg, to grovel, to give her some sense of victory. But I'm done with that. I'm done with her. She clears her throat, regaining her composure. I'll stay at my sister's tonight. I'll pack up my things later this week. Without another word, she turns, grabs her bag, and heads for the door. I don't try to stop her. I don't even look back as she walks out. The door clicks shut, and the silence that follows is deafening. Final. I'm alone now, left with nothing but the pieces of what we once were. And for the first time since this started, I realize, maybe that's exactly what I need. The silence is almost suffocating. I stand there, staring at the closed door, half expecting her to come back, to say she's made a mistake, to do something that makes this whole nightmare rewind. But nothing happens. The apartment is still and hollow, as if every part of her has already disappeared from my life. I sit down on the couch, my mind racing over the past few days, trying to figure out where I missed the signs. 6 months of secrets, 6 months of lies. How could I not have seen it? I trusted her so completely that I never even considered she could betray me like this. And yet, here I am, blindsided, left to pick up the pieces alone. It isn't until a few hours later that it really sinks in. I'm still sitting there in the same spot when her words replay in my mind. You were in love with the idea of us. She said it with such ease, like it was obvious, like I was the fool for believing in what we had. But now I can see her coldness for what it truly was. She was rewriting our history, warping our memories, making me feel like I'm the one who never understood her. Eventually, I get up, moving around the apartment in a daze. Her things are still here, little reminders of her in every room. The picture of us on the bookshelf, her favorite mug on the kitchen counter, even her perfume lingering in the air. Each one feels like a piece of evidence, a reminder of the lies she was spinning right under my nose. I open her closet, and there, hanging next to my shirts, is a neatly folded stack of her clothes. On top is that dress she wore last New Year's Eve, the night she toasted to another year together, and told me how much she loved me. That memory is almost unbearable now. I close the closet door, trying to block it out, but it's no use. I see her in every corner, her smile, her laugh, her I love yous, all a web of deceit. Then, as I'm about to walk away, I hear a faint buzz from the other room. Her laptop is still on the kitchen counter, forgotten in her rush to leave. The screen lights up with a new email notification from Mark. I hesitate, Part of me wants to slam it shut, to ignore every trace of her, to cut off this entire chapter of my life right here and now. But the other part, the part that needs answers, closure, something to make sense of this betrayal, can't resist. My hand trembles as I reach for the laptop, my finger hovering over the trackpad. With a single swipe, I unlock it. The email is right there, plain as day, like a final slap in the face. Missed you tonight. Can't wait to be together for real. Let me know when you've told him. It'll be a fresh start for both of us. I stare at the words, feeling a wave of nausea rise in my throat. This wasn't just some casual fling to her. She was planning this, waiting for the right moment to cut me out and start her new life with him. The sheer level of her deception is staggering. She played me, held on to me like a backup plan while building an entire future with another man. I closed the laptop, the shock turning into a slow, seething anger. I deserve better than this. I deserve the truth, even if it hurts. And as I stand there, surrounded by the ruins of what I thought was my life, I know one thing for certain. This is the end. There's no going back, no salvaging what's left. Emma chose her path, and now I'll choose mine. She may have destroyed our marriage, but she won't destroy me. The anger sits heavy in my chest, but beneath it, there's a gnawing need for closure. I can't just let this end in silence, letting her walk away scot-free, without facing the consequences of everything she's torn apart. She may think she's washed her hands of me, but I refuse to be a forgotten chapter in her life, just another thing she could toss aside on her way to something better. I reach for my phone, not entirely sure what I plan to say, only knowing I need her to hear me. But then, as I scroll through my contacts, my finger hovers over the name of someone else. Sarah, Emma's sister. The thought is almost immediate, like an instinct. Sarah and I have always been close. She's seen Emma and me through some of our hardest moments, and she deserves to know the truth, to see Emma's real face behind all the polished smiles and fake "I love yous." Before I can second-guess myself, I hit call. It rings twice before Sarah picks up, her voice warm but slightly puzzled. It's late, and she knows I rarely call unless it's something important. "Hey, Alex, everything okay?" she asks, a hint of concern already creeping into her tone. There's a pause as I try to find the words, to hold back the bitterness that's burning its way to the surface. "Sarah, I need to tell you something. It's about Emma." Another pause. She picks up on the tension immediately, her voice softening. "What's going on? Did something happen between you two?" I can feel my grip tightening on the phone, my jaw clenching as I force the words out. "She's been seeing someone else. For months. She's leaving me for him." The silence on her end is immediate, stunned. I hear her gasp, a quiet, shaky sound, and I can almost picture her expression. The shock, the disbelief, the hurt. She lets out a deep breath, and when she speaks again, her voice is thick with anger. Alex, are you serious? Emma wouldn't. No, she couldn't do that. She did. I say, each word like a weight lifting off my shoulders. I saw the emails, Sarah. She's with some guy named Mark. She admitted it. Tonight. There's another silence, and then I hear her draw in a sharp breath, her voice trembling with a mix of anger and sadness. "She's been lying to you, lying to all of us." "Exactly," I say, feeling a small surge of relief. Sarah's reaction feels like validation, like someone finally understands the gravity of what I'm going through. She's angry, furious even, but not at me. She's on my side. "Alex, I don't even know what to say. I had no idea she was capable of something like this. I'm so sorry." Her apology, her empathy, it breaks something in me. For the first time since this started, I feel the weight of it all fully sink in. The betrayal, the lies, the devastation of losing the life I thought I knew. And with Sarah's support, the truth of what I need to do becomes clear. I take a deep breath, the decision crystallizing. "Thanks, Sarah. I appreciate it. I just thought you deserved to know. Thank you for telling me," she says, her voice soft but resolute. "Emma's going to have to answer for this. She can't just hurt people like this and walk away." I hang up, feeling a strange sense of calm. Sarah's reaction was exactly what I needed. A reminder that Emma's betrayal doesn't define me, that I still have people who care, people who see through the lies and manipulation. And as I set down the phone, a new kind of strength fills me. I don't need Emma's explanations or apologies anymore. I don't need her to make sense of what she did. I have my truth. And for the first time, that's enough. The next morning, I wake up to a knock on the door. I open it to find Emma standing there, looking polished and perfectly composed, as if last night's revelations were a minor inconvenience rather than the destruction of our marriage. She holds a small bag, her lips pressed together in a tight line, her eyes avoiding mine. "I need to pack some things," she says, her tone businesslike. No apology, no guilt, just a formality, as if she's already miles away in her mind. I step aside, letting her in without a word. Watching her move around the apartment, pulling clothes from drawers and gathering her belongings, it feels surreal, like I'm witnessing the end of something I didn't realize was so fragile. She's efficient, quick, avoiding my gaze, acting as though she's packing for a business trip rather than moving out of our life together. After a few minutes of silence, she finally speaks. "I know this is hard for you, Alex, but it's for the best." The words hit me with a renewed sense of betrayal. I feel a spark of anger flare up, but I force it down. There's no use trying to reason with someone who's already rewritten the story to suit her needs. Still, I can't help but ask the question that's been burning in my mind. Was any of it real, Emma? All these years, did it ever mean anything to you? She stops, her back to me, shoulders stiffening. For a moment, I think she might actually answer with something honest. But then she turns around, her face guarded, detached. "It was real, Alex," she says, but her voice is hollow, rehearsed. "But people change. I changed. And maybe I realized that what I wanted then isn't what I want now." I nod slowly, taking in the finality of her words. She's done with me, done with us, and there's nothing left in her that's willing to fight for it. Any trace of the woman I thought I knew has vanished, replaced by someone cold and self-serving. Someone who doesn't care how much damage she leaves behind. "Fine," I say, my voice quiet but steady. "Take what you need and go. I'm done fighting for something that clearly only mattered to one of us." For the first time, something flickers in her expression. A brief flash of something close to regret, but she quickly masks it, closing herself off once again. She picks up her bag, glances around one last time, and then, without a word, heads toward the door. Just before she leaves, she pauses, hand on the doorknob. "I hope you find what you're looking for, Alex," she says, her voice soft, almost like a whisper. And with that, she's gone, the door clicking shut behind her. The silence that follows is heavy, final. But instead of feeling lost or broken, I feel a strange sense of relief. The weight of uncertainty, of trying to hold onto someone who had already let go, has finally lifted. She's made her choice, and I'm free to make mine. I take a deep breath, letting the realization sink in. I don't need her to make sense of it. I don't need answers from someone who chose lies over love, deception over commitment. She may have betrayed me, but I don't have to carry that burden anymore. For the first time in a long time, I feel a spark of something new. A glimmer of hope that as the door shuts, I stand in the middle of the empty apartment, taking in the quiet. It's the same place I've called home for years, but everything feels different now. Like her departure has stripped away layers, leaving it raw and honest. I'm finally alone with the truth, but it doesn't crush me the way I thought it would. Instead, it feels strangely empowering. I look around, seeing reminders of her scattered everywhere. Her books on the shelf, the framed photos of us on the walls, the things we'd built together. But now, these things aren't precious. They're anchors, tying me to a life that no longer exists. And if she was so willing to walk away from it all, maybe I can, too. I start with the photos. The framed memories of our happy life now look like hollow illusions. Moments frozen in time when I believed in a future she'd already let go of. One by one, I take them down, dropping each into a box without a second glance. Our anniversary photo, that vacation shot in Hawaii, even the one from the New Year's Eve party where she toasted to forever. They're nothing more than remnants of a lie. Next, I tackle the closet, packing up the clothes she left behind, the pieces she didn't care enough to take. I find an old scarf she loved, one she'd worn during our first winter together, and toss it in the box without a flicker of sentimentality. Every item I remove feels like a small act of freedom, reclaiming space, creating a clean slate. Her scent, her presence, her hold on this place. They're slowly fading with each box, each photo, each memory I choose to let go of. But it's not just the physical things. It's the hold she had over me, the trust she shattered, the person I thought I was with her. I realize now that she didn't just betray me. She took pieces of me along with her lies, pieces I'm finally taking back. The last thing I find is her favorite mug, still sitting by the sink from last night. I pick it up, feeling the weight of it, the way I'd thought about washing it for her after she left. But now, looking at it, I see it for what it is. A reminder of someone who was never really here, who saw my love as a convenience. I don't need it, just like I don't need her. I drop it in the trash, the sound of it shattering against the bin liner strangely satisfying. It's like the last tie between us breaking, the final piece of her falling away. When I'm finished, the apartment feels empty but lighter, as if the walls themselves are breathing again. And for the first time, I realize that this emptiness isn't something to fear. It's a blank canvas, a chance to rebuild, to create a life that doesn't depend on someone else's loyalty or validation.